Welcome to Dylan Has Movies. I'm Dylan, and I have movies. Before we go any further, I would like to warn that there will be spoilers for Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills in this review. So if you've not seen either of those and you would like to, that's your warning to watch something else. So I just watched David Gordon Green's follow-up to his 2018 Halloween reboot, Halloween Kills, and to put it simply, it wasn't for me. Now, I'm not going to make this review from the point of a diehard fan of the series because I've not yet seen 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And while I have a copy of the original on Blu-ray, it is far from my favorite movie. This is not going to be an unhinged Halloween fan shitting all over a new movie video. It's not going to be like that. I guess I should preface this with a summary of my feelings on the 2018 Halloween film to get the ball rolling, so here I go. I thought it was okay. The film felt more grounded in reality, thankfully, and they stripped away all that stupid Cult of Thorn nonsense from 4, 5, and 6, and brought Michael Myers back to being an actual menacing character. He's a silent killer with motives unknown, and that's what's great about him, the mystery of Michael. There's no reason to peek behind the curtain and figure out why he's doing what he's doing. I'd argue that the 2018 film, which I will now be calling H-teen, from now on to avoid confusion, is one of the better sequels, but not from a story perspective, but instead from a technical standpoint. It's a competently made, well shot, and it has great use of lighting, but all these are gained at the expense of it being cumbersome and boring. H-teen plods along pretty slowly for the most part, while it sets up the characters, and I found it to be difficult to invest attention into. The reveal of the reason of why Michael escaped was because of Dr. Sartain crashing the bus to be able to watch him kill in the wild like some kind of safari expedition. It's stupid. It's so incredibly dumb. Since H-teen is a direct sequel to the original and all the other continuity is now ignored, then why is everyone fascinated with Michael? Yes, he murdered several people with a knife 40 years ago, and perhaps back then in 1978 that was a big deal, but the amount of daily murders and shit happening in the United States severely downplays the significance of the Haddonfield attack. They even reference that when Allison is talking with her friends. I didn't want to focus too much on H-teen for this video, but I figured that I would probably be best to recap my feelings on it since I've never properly reviewed it, and I did rewatch it in preparation for Halloween Kills, and while I found it to be a little better than my initial impressions, I still found it to be technically competent, but at the same time, it's an incredibly boring slasher flick. But Halloween Kills, on the other hand, David Gordon Green returns as the director and co-writer for the film that immediately follows H-teen. I'm having trouble finding the words to properly describe how I feel about Halloween Kills because on one hand, Michael Myers finally goes stab happy and the body count reaches about 30, which is what I wanted. But on the other hand, Halloween Kills is incredibly stupid. A decent amount of this film is told through flashbacks, one of which is running close to 20 minutes. That's how the film opens. It follows Deputy Hawkins as a young officer during the initial Halloween night in 1978, which essentially brings new viewers up to speed and dumps exposition at the same time. Halloween Kills is the antithesis to H-teen. It trades in its slow and cumbersome pacing for almost consistent violence at the expense of having any intelligent characters. Do you remember that scene from Halloween 4 where a local group of hicks got together to hunt down Michael, only to gun down an innocent man? Yeah, they do that again. A large portion of the second act features an angry Haddonfield mob swarming through the Memorial Hospital hoping to hunt down an escaped mental patient they assume to be Michael Myers. It's not. They chase an innocent man out a window to his death, and then afterwards characters cry out, "How could we have known?" You're kidding, right? Michael Myers is 6'4" with the body of a linebacker who has never run away from anyone. The man you chased was Danny DeVito. There's a scene where they're watching the television at a bar and we see a news report on the two escaped patients, one being Michael and the other being the man they chased, in profile. They see their faces. You still had no idea you were chasing the wrong guy? Halloween Kills is amazingly idiotic. Tommy Doyle is back from the original film, now all grown up and like Laurie, still clinging to the night that happened 40 years ago when he was just a small child. He stands at the bar and riles support for patrons and other survivors that Michael Myers won't scare us anymore, despite the fact that as far as he knows, at this point in the movie, Myers is still locked up in a mental institution. He doesn't know that he's escaped. Does he do this shit every Halloween? Oh, there's Tommy again, riling support for a man that's been locked away for 40 years. Halloween Kills tries a little too hard to reference and call back to the previous films in the franchise. The 3 children that are trick-or-treating are wearing the masks from Season of the Witch. Older characters like Tommy Doyle, Lonnie, and the nurse attacked in the car all come back because they played such a big part in the original film, only to die gruesomely at the hands of the man they so ardently said wouldn't hurt us again. If you're excited to see the confrontation between Laurie and Michael in this film, then you're going to be even more disappointed than I was. Laurie and Michael share absolutely zero screen time together. Zero, none, nada. From what I can assume, they're saving it for the final battle for Halloween Ends, which I'm hoping is going to be fucking wild. The script attempts to set up a subplot about a long, untalked about romantic attachment between Laurie Strode and Deputy Hawkins that never occurred, which seems incredibly pointless to the overall story. It felt like additional dialogue put in to fill a scene that would have been more touching if it was a quiet moment, like Laurie and Hawkins after all these years are still lending each other their strength, but instead it borrows from Hallmark when Laurie leans over to Frank and says, "Share my hospital bed and my Activia." While I have a problem with the plot, decisions made by characters, which characters should have died, characters in general, I will give credit where credit is due. It is still pretty fun. The film's climax in the alleyway where the mob finally confronts Michael and beat his ass only for him to get up immediately after being hit with hammers, crowbars, 2x4s, knives. He's even shot 4 or 5 times. And then he proceeds to kill everyone in his immediate vicinity is great. There's a level of brutality that is yet to be seen in the Halloween films. It's achieved here. It's great. Halloween Kills is a much more entertaining film than H-Teen because of its idiotic characters and nonsensical plot, but at the cost of being a decent movie. I don't want to see movies fail. I love movies, but this was just not for me. Maybe I'll own it on Blu-ray in a few years when it's $10 because as a character, I love Michael, he's great. But this was such a large disappointment for me, and I had very little excitement going in. I feel even worse for the fans.